Salut tout le monde! 皆さんこんにちは. Hello everybody! Welcome back to another video of how to become an au pair in France, part 2. So this is going to be the continuation of how to become an au pair, part 1. So we're going to go on to step 3, which is use Au Pair World. Now, Au Pair World is the platform that I use to find my host family. So, without further ado, let's get started. Just a quick reminder, I'm so sorry. I have not been feeling well the past couple of weeks. So, my voice is a little quieter due to all the coughing and everything. So, sorry about that. So yes, Au Pair World. I will link it down below. A lot of people have used other platforms such as Facebook agencies in Japan, which the agencies in Japan are reliable, I think, but you will have to pay a fee. So it will cost you more. And plus they have more rules, so I think it's a little stricter. I didn't qualify, unfortunately, so it was just easier for me to do it myself via Au Pair World. And Au Pair World is basically the platform that everybody uses to find host family. It's basically like a matching app, but for au pairs and host families. You create an account. You go on to create your profile. You have to add in all the necessary information. There are going to be a lot of questions which you will have to answer, but that will, help you kind of stand out on your profile. So the whole process of finding a host family, it really depends. It depends on timing. So I'm just going to explain my experience and how long it took for me to find my host family. I wasn't sure when I was going to leave. I wasn't sure when I was supposed to apply for my visa. So I felt like I didn't have that much time to find a host family. So I wanted to quickly get it done as possible. So I created my profile at the end of last November. At the time, I was thinking about leaving around June, July-ish. So not many families would be looking like 6-7 months early. They usually start looking 3 to 4 months. So keep that in mind as well. When I created my profile, I was reaching out to families. I sent them messages to, potential families that seemed, interesting, that seemed like we would match. But no one replied. No one ever really reached out to me, and that was for about a month. So I got really worried that when January came along, I thought I would be in trouble. But I think around January 1st or 2nd, I finally got a message from a family, and so I was like, woohoo! I even contacted the customer service because I thought I did something wrong with my profile, but they told me no, it takes time. Sometimes it's timing. At the time, it was December, so it was around New Year's, Christmas time. So no family is really bothering to look at their profile or search for an au pair when they're on vacation. Kind of keep that in mind. You may have to be a little more patient when it comes to families reaching out to you or families replying to your messages, depending on whether it's vacation time or holiday time kind of thing. So for the profile and what to do and what not to do advice, I'm going to kind of talk about that on a separate video, so don't worry about that. I'm going to give you some tips on when finding a host family. So since I mentioned that this is going to be the most important part of the process, take your time, do not rush. It's never good to rush when finding a host family because remember, you're going to be living with them for, a year, most likely. And you want to be comfortable, especially in a country where you've either never been to or have never lived. So when you match with a family, take time and speak with them, talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask many questions. The type of questions you can ask, you can actually look up advice from other au pairs on YouTube. Make sure to offer to video call as many times as you can, if possible 2 to 3 times. So because you don't know what they're like, and even if you speak with them, it's still online. So it's best to offer to do a video call a few times. And even if the first family you feel like, oh, that this family might be good, don't settle on the first family you match with. Connect with as many families as possible. Just to let you know, so for the au pair, the monthly allowance that you receive as a non-EU citizen will be about 320 euros minimum. You can negotiate that too with your host family if you want. I didn't do that. The fee that they gave me is the one that we just settle on. After a few months in and you feel like maybe you deserve a raise or something, you can also talk about it with your host family. Again, it depends on you. All of these tips and things you can also find on YouTube as well. So moving on to step 4. After you created your au pair account, after you've matched with a family and you've secured your family, then you will have to sign a contract. And there is only one contract available in France for an au pair. I will link it down below to make it easier for you guys to access. And make sure you talk about the contents of your job before you sign the contract. What they want you to do, what they expect you to do. If it seems like it's too much, you can also let them know or negotiate with them. By law, an au pair must have at least 1 day off per week. So if they're not giving you 1 day off per week, or if it seems sketchy about like the weekends, they could kind of take advantage of that. So make sure to be clear about things like that. You don't want any gray areas in a contract. You're also going to be working, but you're not going to be paid that much. So if the workload seems a little too unfair, you definitely talk to them about it. They'll probably sign the contract first because they have to write down all their information, and then you have to look it over, sign it yourself, and then that's it. So I just realized I kind of had a little bit of a mix up here in the order. So in the previous video, towards the end, I mentioned that you will have to look up what you need for your visa appointment. But actually, that comes after you've secured your family and signed the contract. So after you've secured your family, after you've signed the contract, after you've looked up what you need for your visa via Visa Wizard, then you can create your appointment, as I mentioned in the last video. So that's the order. That's the correct order. And I am so sorry about that whole mix-up. So after you finished all those steps, then you can go on to filling out your visa application, which is going to be online. And I will link it down below. It is very easy for you to do, but I think you will have to create your account before you do this. And it's very easy, but you will need your host family's information for this as well. If you haven't finished it yet, it's okay. It'll be saved as a draft. Make sure to be absolutely 100% certain about all the information that you have put in there before you send it. Because once you send it, if you realize you made a mistake, you cannot edit it. And you also can't delete it. You can create a new one and print that out and bring it to the embassy. So make sure you do that. Make sure you double check. I'm going to talk about the French embassy in Japan, which is located only in Tokyo. So if you're like me and you live far away from Tokyo, it'll take time. In my case, I took the Shinkansen to Tokyo and I stayed there the night before my appointment date. So that's another thing. If you live far away, I do not recommend you go there early morning. Don't do that because that's very risky. And your appointment times that are available are only in the morning. I think the latest one is either 11:30 a.m. or 12 p.m. I'm not sure. So if you live far away and you have to travel, make sure to stay the night before. It's going to cost extra, but it's shoganai. You have to do it. So yes, and then make sure you have all of your documents. Make sure you have your passport. Among the things that you need, besides your passport and the documents, is a reta baku, and the reta baku should be red. I accidentally brought the aoi reta baku and I had to buy one while I was there. There's a place nearby the embassy where you can buy the akai reta baku, but it'll just be easier if you bring one already. And also for your ID photos, they ask for two types. The one that's very zoomed in and the one that's kind of semi-zoomed out. Make sure that you have two types. If you happen to forget your ID photos, they do have a ID photo booth inside that office, inside that whole room. So you can take it, but it'll take more time. So better to just do it beforehand and bring it yourself. Okay, and this is actually another tip. I have a tip for this. When you go, it is best to dress nicely, dress proper, like semi-formal type. You don't have to go in a suit because it really makes a difference. It affects, I think, your whole application as well to make a good impression. They also treat you differently. Differently meaning a little better. Because they treat you more professionally if you dress a certain way. Dress to impress, you know? But yeah, it makes a difference. So that I think that's an important tip. Okay, so after you go home, you wait. And the thing is, you can check on your French embassy account, the account that you use to create your visa application online. You look at your dashboard. Beside your visa application online, beside it, it should say like processing your visa application. And you keep looking at that every day to see if it's finished. If it's finished, it would read your passport is ready for pickup. And actually, that doesn't mean that you got your visa. It just means that your passport is ready for pickup. You have to look inside your passport to see if the visa is actually in there. That's when you know. But so when it says that, that means that your passport will be in your home probably the next day via the retapaku. So they'll send your passport back in the retapaku that you gave them, the akai one. On the website, it says the visa process usually takes between 15 to 45 days or something like that. Seriously, I am not joking. 2 days. Only 2 days later, I checked the dashboard again and it read, your passport is ready for pickup. I was like, what? It's only been 2 days. How is this possible? The next day, I received my passport. Anyway, so that's it. When you find the visa in your passport, it means you're ready to go. So right after that, buy your ticket ASAP. You have to buy your plane ticket. The longer you wait and the closer you get to your departure date, of course, the plane tickets, the prices will go higher. So buy your plane ticket as quickly as possible. The final steps before you leave. I'll call it that. First, you'll have to go to the ward office, 近くの市役所 or 区役所, whichever. You'll have to fill in the 海外転出届, which means you'll have to fill in the form that says that you're going to be living abroad for this certain amount of time so they don't tax you. Jumize. So you do that as quickly as possible. And while you're at it, you can also use your My Number. I found out, I didn't know that, but you can use your My Number as just like an ID. Like if they ask you, do you have any ID? You have your passport, but besides your passport, you also have your My Number. And you can ask them to, I don't know what the name is because they kind of did it automatically for me. They only explain that we'll make sure that you can use it when you're there. Yeah, that takes time though, so make sure to go in the morning. Okay, your phone number. Yeah, so obviously you're not going to be using your phone number or your phone service while you're here. So for me, I use Docomo. So in my case, I was able to save my phone number. But it depends on what your service is. Just check what you can do. If they have a service like that, what we call horyu, maybe you can do that, or you can find other options. I'll just add in a little like tip here for when you do come here. For the phone service, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to ask your host family for help. If they have any advice on which phone service that you can use, you should use, definitely. When you first get here, though, obviously you will need some kind of phone service. And I recommend Holify. Holify is really not expensive. It's very easy to use, and it really came in handy when I first got here. But the thing about Holify is you will have to download the app. You'll have to get everything set up. You cannot activate it until you get here. You don't need any internet connection really to activate it. I was able to do it without my internet connection. I think, I don't remember, but it's very quick. I activated it while I was waiting in line for customs at the airport, so because the customs line was so long. So one last thing before I end this video. So when you're packing and you're leaving, and you're going to have more things. So like me, I'm planning on staying here for 2 years. That's a long time. Therefore, you have to bring a few more things. And depending on the type of plane ticket that you get, you'll have a weight limit. And you can't bring everything all at once with you when you travel, so you'll have to send boxes. In Japan, this doesn't exist, so I did not know this. Because it doesn't exist in Japan, I didn't even think to look for this information, right? But I am telling you now, I'm letting you know, when you send boxes, please be aware that when it arrives in France, you will have to pay to receive. It's tax, basically. They tax you for this. I'll give you an example. I sent 3 boxes, and those 3 boxes, they weighed around 4 or 5 kilos. Altogether, sending, it was about yoman. Now, when I received it, my host mother told me that I had to pay 153 euros. That's close to samayen. And then I later found out that if you pay more than 45 euros worth to send, and sending anything from Japan to France is very expensive, even if it's not EMS. So if you go over that much, they're going to tax you. If you want to look it up, please look it up. I'll try and link it down below to see if I can find information. It'll be in Japanese, of course, but yeah, maybe it'll help you. That about sums it up. So that will be the end of how to become an au pair, part 2. So just to break it down, know when you want to go, check if you qualify, use Au Pair World, find and secure your family, sign the contract, use Visa Wizard to check what you need in order to apply for the visa, create an appointment, fill out your visa application online, go to your appointment at the French Embassy in Tokyo on your appointment day, see if you got your visa when your passport arrives. Once you get your visa, you prepare to leave, and then you do all your final steps. So that's it. And I will get into other details in a separate video about Au Pair World specifically, and also what you will need to do when you first get here, and other things. Of course, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me or drop a comment. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much.